Live at the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork with all the breaking details on this investigation. Hi, Garrett.
Carly, good morning to you. We have learned that the suspect told at least several individuals that he was planning to assassinate Charlie Kirk. In one of those instances, it was in a note he left for his romantic partner. In another, it was a text message to a separate individual. Neither person has been charged, but they could be down the road as the investigation continues. Here's FBI Director Kash Patel describing one of those messages last night on Hannity.
We've collected information where, through witness interviews from the FBI and local law enforcement, that he essentially admitted after the shooting and assassination of Charlie Kirk, the suspect admitted to it. But I will say what was found in terms of information, a text message exchange where the suspect specifically stated that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do that. And when he was asked why, he said some hatred cannot be negotiated with.
So, whoever he was talking to, whoever he was conversating with, they need to be going to jail too. They do. You cannot tell me that this man texted someone, right, had a conversation with them and told him what he was going to do and no one reported that. You're an accomplice, right? You're an accomplice, period. Okay? And the problem with this, and I keep seeing people saying, oh, well, both sides are spewing hatred. Both sides, bro, to be completely honest with you, all I've heard conservatives talk about is the dumb shit that liberals do, right? You have people who are standing on Christian values, right? Going out to schools, giving their opinions, right? And you have a kid who sits on his phone and decides, oh, this man must be hateful because I watched a fucking, excuse my language, because I watched a TikTok video or a YouTube short on someone misinterpreting, 20 seconds of what Charlie Kirk was talking about. So it can fit their narrative, right? You have because this is a man, but this is a child, right? Because he obviously can't think for himself. He couldn't go back and watch probably and look, this is what I believe, right? True or not, he cannot go back and just watch a full video of one of these debates, right? A full hour video, right? Of how Charlie speaks and how he talks, right? No, you sit back and you get on your phone, right? Like a lot of people in the US do. They get on their phones, and they go through and they see these little short clips and think that they know everything about a situation without doing no research of their own, without going to check anything, to look back at anything, to get their own opinion, or to get a full view of the situation so they can have an opinion about it, right? No. And he's 21, 22, so he's born in like 2002, 2003 or something. Like, come on, man. And he grew up in a good family. And this is why children just shouldn't have phones, bro. You feel me? Like, you think this is bad. If a grown man can imagine children, bro, that are getting just so desensitized, you feel me, to certain things, right? Because they are 13, 14 years old with a freaking phone, access to anything that they want to. But I personally, honestly, I think when you do that, it's just, I want to, like, if you do not know honestly, I didn't even have a phone until I was in high school, and it was a flip phone, Verizon phone, right? So, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think kids should be having a phone. And if they do have a phone, then they need to have those phones where you can only call or text, like 5 phone numbers in your phone or something. Like, that's what you need. And parents need to start taking responsibility for their children, right? Not giving them phones as a distraction so they don't have to deal with them. Okay, giving them a phone because a phone is used to call and text, right? And that's what they need to use it for, to call and text in case of an emergency. right? But when you have children who are going down these rabbit holes, or going down these, not even a rabbit hole, it's like a fucking slot, because it's not even like they're not getting any type of full coverage, you know, or not getting any full idea of the situation, right? They're just going down this left, who are calling everyone fascist, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever, any phobic, you feel me, that they want to call them, you feel me? That's what they're doing. And they're making it seem like they're literally starting to make strong men, and I'm not saying the left doesn't have strong men, but I mean, you know, but it's like, bro, like men who have values, you know, who want to stand for something, right? Those who fear God, right? Those who have values of family, right? Who have the community values, right? Who want to bring people together, right? Like things of that nature, right? They're making us look bad, right? For what? For what? Because we know what we want and who we are? This man had no right, like any man in this world, has no right to take another person's life. At all. At all.
The alleged assassin was an avid gamer and very active on Discord, which is a popular messaging platform used by a lot of gamers. We've learned that shortly before the 22-year-old turned himself in, he confessed to assassinating Charlie Kirk in a group chat on Discord. In messages obtained by the Washington Post, he wrote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've been all amazing. Thank you all for everything." We also know just hours before those messages, in a different chat group, the alleged assassin was joking with friends who said he looked really similar to the man the FBI was searching for. Here's Kash Patel on Fox and Friends describing how those chat groups are factoring into this investigation.
People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained.
The accused killer is expected to be formally charged today, and those charges are expected to include aggravated murder, which does bring the possibility of the death penalty. And in Utah, that can either be by lethal injection or by firing squad.
Firing squad.
Carly?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, the godly part of me hopes, you know, he repents, finds forgiveness. The human part of me hopes he gets the firing squad. You know, there's a lot of, one reason why I say that is because there are a lot of people out there who are disrespecting Charlie by saying, oh, you know, you were pro guns, you know, you were pro 2/8 or Second Amendment, you know, you live by the gun, you die by the gun type shit, you know, and nah, that's not, that wasn't it for him. Now, this man who didn't have the balls to go up and just have a civil debate to get his own opinion, who decided to go out, shoot a man, broad day, in front of his kids, in front of students. Yeah. You live by the gun, you die by the gun, buddy. Firing squad. Okay. I want you sitting right there. I want you to watch as these men aim at you. You know, and I don't think what I'm saying is hateful. I'm just explaining the situation of how a firing squad works, right? You're standing there, they're going to aim at you, right? And you're going to watch down the barrel, right? But the godly version of me, hope he repents. I mean, if he's getting the death penalty, I mean, either way, he needs to repent and ask God for forgiveness. and be serious about it. Because I know where Charlie is, and I don't know, but I don't know where this man is going to be. Okay, heaven or hell, his choice. But yeah, the human side of me, I don't. Nah, no.
Okay, Garrett Tunney, live for us in Spanish Fork, Utah. Garrett, we will be watching. Thank you so much. Let's bring in former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker. Chris, thanks for joining us. We learned a whole lot yesterday, and almost all of it had to do with this alleged assassin's digital footprint, messages that he sent beforehand saying that he was going to commit this crime, and apparently messages that he sent afterwards admitting to it. So how are investigators going to be using these messages to build their case?
Well, it'll be a very important part of their case. I mean, this is shaping up to be a very, very strong case. You have all the forensic evidence that's been piling up. You have these statements in the gaming chat room, if you will. The FBI has been gathering all this evidence in, as well as the other investigative agencies, and it really does paint a picture. So you knit all that together for a prosecution, and there just aren't a whole lot of defenses to this type of evidence. What I think Kesh Patel was correct. What people wonder, why isn't the FBI in these chat rooms monitoring things that are going on? It's just not that easy. They need a tip or a lead from a member of the chat room or a member of the public that's had access, because they can't just go willy-nilly surfing through all these social media sites and chat rooms and gaming sites. There are DOJ guidelines and FBI guidelines and constitutional guidelines that prohibit that.
But Chris, now that we have those guidelines and those requirements met, the FBI is combing through the digital footprint, not just of the alleged assassin, but those with whom he communicated. So Chris, to me, the real question at this point is, what charges could this possible extended network face if they are found to have radicalized Tyler Robinson into killing Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, it opens up the possibility of a conspiracy type of charge. That's going to be very difficult. This type of charge is very difficult if it's encouragement or passive, just listening to the information and not reporting it to law enforcement. That's a tough one. But that's something that I'm sure they're looking at very hard. If it's after the fact and they didn't say anything, that's one thing, maybe accessory after the fact. If they were privy to pre-planning and information that would have helped them help law enforcement intervene and prevent this, then it starts to get a little bit stronger. So I think it remains to be seen here. It could be a stretch, but let's see what happens. I think they have a better chance of doing that type of case in federal court.
Yeah, I don't think that any of these network or these platforms are going to be charged, right? People are allowed to post what they want. You have the freedom to speak and, to say what you want. But I honestly think that, his roommate, who he was in a relationship with, was trans, right? He was probably watching these videos. They were probably watching videos together. He's going probably through Reddit. He's having all these liberal leaning. And then the crazy thing is, for him, he probably also, while he's going through all this, right? Because from my understanding, his parents were well respected. His dad, I believe, was like an ex-sheriff. His mom had a pretty good career, So, he grew up in a pretty, he grew up in a good home, and like they said, he had a conversation with his parents, about, the hateful words or the hateful speech that Charlie Kirk says, when he's at these events. And honestly, I probably think that they weren't probably on his side about it. And as parents, who thinks that your kid is going to go and murder or assassinate someone, right? But I don't know, man. The left, man. And then they're playing these games like they're not, you know, like the things that they're saying aren't radicalized. They're literally dehumanizing these people, right? The president, you know, Republicans, people in the conservative movement. Bro, like, I remember making a video about, it was about the birthright citizenship, right? And the way that they framed the question was, if you don't care about children, right? Right? If you don't care about children, or if you do care about the children, raise your hand, right? And it's like, bro, you know, like this is not, like, they try to get in, this obviously working, right? They use emotions, you know, and you go to school and you learn this, right? There are three types of rhetoric, right? There's logos, pathos, and ethos. Right? You can be logical, you can use emotion, or you can try to use credibility. Right? The left is all about emotion. They have no credibility. None. Right? None. Look at how they're defending the illegal immigrations, right? Look how they're defending, like, literally the 20%, 10%, you know, of the issues, you feel me? Like, they're on the 10% side, you feel me? Like, and then they're making, they're saying these words, fascists, Nazis, you feel me? Like, that makes people feel like what they're saying is true, especially if you don't go and do your own research. You feel me? Like, yes, they are very much radicalizing all this, right? They're making it seem like people are bad for not wanting their children to learn about trans stuff. You're making it seem like it's bad because we don't want children to be taking hormones that could, like, destroy their bodies. You feel me? Like, what type of mind? Like, come on. But yet you have some of these people on the left who say they're Christians.
So one of the charges he is currently facing, it could change later today, but one of the charges he was arrested on is aggravated murder. And you heard Garrett say that does meet the criteria for the death penalty in Utah. Do you see that is where this case is going?
Absolutely. I mean, that's been mentioned in press conferences. It's been, the governor made it a specific point to mention that. And I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, the state charge is much stronger, is they want to leave that death penalty on the table. There is a federal death penalty, but it's a little bit more difficult. So, and Utah has had executions in the not too recent past. So it's up there for and I would not be surprised at all to see the death penalty enhancement in the indictment itself.
Well, let's see what they say, right? Let's see what they say. All right, man, I'm done with this. Make sure you love someone. Make sure you hug someone.